Today I'm going to talk about traveling across the country on the highway system. I'm going to talk about highways and especially rest stops. So watch it all the way through because you're going to learn some really fun facts about rest stops. And I really appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today. I love it. I really do. I like doing videos almost every day. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to you, and I enjoy your comments because that's how you can talk to me back. So please leave a comment, even if it's just hi Lee or a heart or something like that. But please ask questions or let me know what your experience is with what I'm going to talk about. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Okay, let's get going with this rest stop highway travel across the nation. Either way, doesn't matter. Let's go. Rest stops. I want to talk about the travel. Now, a lot of you are going to start your van life. You're going to do this. So many of you leave me messages and you say, Lee, I got my van. Lee, I sold my home. Lee, I gave in my notice and I'm going to be leaving pretty soon when my lease is up for renting because I can't deal with it anymore. I can't afford it. Or they're evicting you because they want to get everybody out so they can renovate it and then jack up the price a little bit. Or you can't deal with leaky roofs anymore, noisy neighbors, things like that. Yeah, you want to get going in van life. So you're going to be traveling. I do recommend that it's probably a good idea to start van life in early winter, late fall. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be traveling across the country or coming south or wherever you're coming from. You're going to go to Quartzsite. I recommend it the first year because there's going to be the RTR there. And what happens is you don't have to go to the RTR. And no, it doesn't cost anything. But you can stay on BLM land. And what happens is the RTR really does draw a lot of people. Okay, but there are probably only a certain percentage, maybe even a very small percentage of the 250,000 people that descend upon BLM land in Quartzsite in December and January. But I would say there's just a small percentage of people that even go. Okay, but it is geared for the newbie, because they have like workshops on all different areas of van life. Okay, so that's very useful. Howa puts it on. Home on Wheels Association, it's a nonprofit. Okay, so with that said, you're going to be traveling. So here's some information I want to give you. Now, yesterday I talked about your summer place. First was winter, then summer. I wanted to give you an overall plan that is foolproof, okay? And that in case you were not as confident about doing it, and you were nervous and you were anxious and scared. Where am I going to park? What am I going to do? Am I going to be okay? So I gave you a winter foolproof plan and a summer foolproof plan. Now today, we're going to talk about getting you from wherever you are into Arizona, where a lot of nomads hang out year long. Okay, so let's get started with that. Here are some safety factors. You want to go ahead, and I really recommend using Find My Friends app. If you're on iOS, which is iPhone, you have Find My Friends. Put on the notifications. Find somebody in your family or a friend that you can just always have them know where you are. Just put it on. Always share your location with them. Don't start and stop it. Start and stop. Just have it there. Okay. Now, I did check. I'm iOS. So if you are Android, they also have a system, and it's a Google Maps location sharing, and it's built in, and it's for Android. So you just open your Google Maps, tap your profile picture, and then location sharing. And you can share live locations with selected people for a set time or indefinitely. I have my son and my daughter on locations, on Find My Friends on my iPhone indefinitely. So if they don't hear from me for a long time, they can see. Now, the location is for your phone, not your actual body or your vehicle. So if somebody steals your phone, there you go. But, or if they take you, which I doubt would happen, okay? I don't want to scare you. When you're going traveling, Google Maps is your friend. It is your lifeline. What did we do before we had that? Well, we had maps, okay? But I do believe that this is superior because you can do the location and it will tell you how many miles you have to go. So what I suggest is you plan each stretch. Let's just do a scenario, okay? This is something that I did. I would go from Cincinnati, okay, to Arizona. Now, I've done all highways. I've done the I-10 below. I've done the I-40 across. There's the I-20 here, but it doesn't go all the way across. Okay, it's just a little bit shorter. So you got 10, 20, then I got 40. I've never done 30, I don't think. I-40 going across like Nebraska, Missouri. But I've also done the 80. I've never done 90. 90 is from Maine, I believe, to Oregon. It goes all the way across, yeah. And I-10 goes all the way across. I've done all of those going across. I've been across the nation probably, I think, 4 times. Yeah, going across. And I have done 80 from Ohio, getting, I think, 40, and then I get on 80, or I forget. But 80, and I went all the way across to Reno, to Nevada. And, so I've done those. Now, I like to go ahead and set my Google Maps for like every couple of hours. Okay, maybe every couple of 100 miles. And I set it. I set myself a destination. Where am I going to stop? Where am I going to rest? Where am I going to park for the night? So I really encourage you to get to know Google Maps if you're not already. Most of you are. And I really encourage you to learn how to do a pin so that you can send it to your family or friends and say, well, here's where I am right now, if you don't have them in Find My Friends. Okay. So you got to learn Google Maps. Just open it up. Don't be afraid. Start pushing buttons. Say, well, what is this? You have to be, if you want to learn, you have to be curious. Okay. So be very curious. Now, what I would do is I would set it for, what I would type in is rest stops. I love rest stops, and we're going to talk about rest stops. Rest stops on I-40. Okay. And so, it will show you, or you can do rest stops near me, things like that. Type in whatever you can and see what Google Maps will bring up for you. And you can go ahead and set and say, this is where I want to go, and click on it, and then press start. And it will, and then while you're watching it on the highway, it'll let you know you'll be there in like 50 minutes. You'll be there in 10 minutes as you get closer to it. And it lets you know, and it will talk to you and say, turn left and, quarter mile ahead. Okay. So that's easy peasy. Now, for nighttime, what I'm going to suggest for night is, yes, you can stay at rest stops at night. Read what the rules are. But of course, you can stay there. I've slept at many of the rest stops. Okay? Some of them say, no, you can only be for 4 hours. They're just not going to check. There's not enough people to check on that. It's just a guideline. What they want is they don't want you living there. And there have been some people that have tried to do that. They'll just park there and they'll stay there because they don't have a regular home, and they'll stay there. I know one rest stop right outside of San Francisco. It's a famous rest stop. Remember the name of it. But I stayed there overnight, and believe me, they live there. They live there. Homelessness is so huge in that area. And no, they do live there. And the restrooms are unbelievably horrible. I walked in and was like, no. No. Wouldn't ever use that. There's this, people live in certain rest stops. And in most rest stops, that rule of you can't stay here, whatever, that's for that. That's to discourage that. So don't be afraid to stay there overnight and get some good sleep. Okay? Rest stops, truckers and semi-truckers, I mean, they rely on that. Those are lifesavers for semi-drivers, okay? Let's see what else I have. Yeah. Always have a plan B or C, because every once in a while, a rest stop will be closed for renovation for some reason. Yeah. So then what you're going to have to do is, so when you plan for a rest stop, what I would do is plan for a couple of them. And here's something that you can do. You can add a stop. You have to play around with it, because I'm not going to show you how to do it here, but you have to play around with it. When you're in town driving, do it. Play around with it. You've got to be curious, and you got to practice, because you don't want to be nervous on the highway doing it, and you don't want to be pulling over on the shoulder to do it, okay? So you want to do this at your stop. You want to get this together. What you want to do is add a stop. Your first stop will be your stop, and then you can add another one down the road, just in case. Just in case. So when you go past your stop, it's closed. And sometimes Google Maps doesn't know that. It's closed, and you pass it, Google Maps will forget about that one and move you on to the next one. Okay? Now, also, if you don't want to sleep at a rest stop, what I would do is search for, push in, like if you think that you're going to be driving, you're going to take off from Ohio, and you're going to be driving, and you think you can make it to probably Illinois. Okay, you're going to go through Indiana. You can make it to Illinois. Maybe you want to do a rest stop in between to get gas, maybe a Pilot, something like that. So if you want to stop there, fine, and then move on. Or if you just see it, stop. And then what Google Maps will do is keep you moving. Then once you get in, it goes, okay, let's go. Yeah, to your next stop in Illinois. Look up for Cracker Barrel. If you don't want to stay at a rest stop, look for a Cracker Barrel. Yes. And, and if you're unsure, call them. I mean, we don't have to pay for long distance, do we? So just call them and say, can I stay there for the night? Is that okay? There you go. And most likely they're going to say yes. 99% they'll say yes. So then you can just have that and stay overnight at a Cracker Barrel. Get up in the morning, go have coffee, or just take off. Take off early if you want to drive. Do a straight kind of drive through. You don't want to wait till 7 when they open it up. You may want to get going at 5 in the morning. Get up, make your own coffee, and go. So these are things that you're going to be able to do. If all else fails, you can try Walmart. Just call them and say, call and get customer service and say, for the night, I'm traveling. Can I spend the night there? And say, what area should I park in? And they'll probably let you know. So there you go. So rest stops. I want to give you some fun facts. We have a little bit of time left. I'm going to keep talking about this. Probably tomorrow, I'm going to talk about another aspect of the traveling across. I've already done the winter and the summer. Now let's talk about traveling across the nation in a safe way, and I'll give you tips. Okay. So keep watching every day and share this, because even if you're going on vacation, or you have a family member, this is good information for traveling. Okay, so rest stops. Let me just tell you. Nebraska has the most. Oh my gosh, Nebraska is so cool. It's on I-80, and Nebraska is the backbone of it. It runs the entire width of the state. Okay, it just goes right through the state. Now, that section is flat, long, and rural, with huge gaps between towns. Rest areas are a safety net for truckers and travelers. Yeah, Let me get just a little bit of drink. I only have this much left. Otherwise, I'd share it. Unless you could just like wipe it off, right? Okay, these are some fun facts. Don't go anywhere. Nebraska DOT actually designed them consistently. You'll almost hit one within an hour of driving. So as you go through it, okay, you're going to hit one every hour. There are how many in Nebraska? I think there's like 35 in Nebraska, 35 rest stops going across Nebraska. It's the state with the most rest stops. So you never have to stress about where's the next stop. You're going to just run into them. So if you're going across Nebraska, you probably wouldn't even have to plug it in. When you know you need to stop or you're tired and you want to go to sleep, go to the next one because you're going to reach one, within an hour. Okay, so then I think Ohio has 13, Illinois has only 6, well, probably because, you're only hitting the bottom, and Iowa has 9 of them. So the total on I-80 are 53 rest stops. Now, for I-40, there are 35 altogether. I-20, which doesn't really go all the way across. It's sort of, I've been on I-20. It goes from I-10, and then when you want to go up like Dallas or whatever, you kind of have to link up into I-20. It has 29. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. And let's see, for I-10, I-10, there's 35. Okay, for I-40, I don't have that. I don't know why. I think there's like 29 or 30, something like that. And yeah. Okay, so here's some fun facts about rest stops. And they are pretty cool. I've used a lot of rest stops. I've slept in rest stops. There was only one time, and I believe it was in Kentucky, that I felt, that little voice, I felt unsafe. And I left. I had to keep driving. I put in for the next, place that I could stay. Yeah. So if you get the little voice, just leave. And it might not be such a rest stop. It might not be the rest stop's fault, but maybe somebody's there that little voice says, don't be here, so just listen to it. Okay, here's some fun facts. The birth of rest stops was in when the highways were built in the 50s and the 60s. They weren't just bathrooms. They were meant to showcase total culture with picnics, structures, scenic overlooks, and even art. Yeah. They were built in the 50s and the 60s along with the highways. Now, it's the rest stops can be a state pride. Not all of them. Many states design their welcome centers, rest areas to highlight local identity. Example, Texas rest areas often have cowboy western images. And New Mexico would be Pueblo-style architecture. Now, scenic stops, yes. Some rest areas are destinations in themselves. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many I've stopped at that says there's a scenic destination up ahead. And it's not, sometimes they're not even labeled as rest stops, but if you're not in a hurry, you can stop and see them. A lot of people say, well, I like to do the byways because, then I can see a little bit more. Me, I'm a highway person. I feel safer on a highway. You got the 2, 3, 4 lanes, and they do have the scenic stops. So, and they got the exits. You can easily go off. Oregon has ones overlooking the Columbia River Gorge, and Utah has stops where you can literally walk out into Red Rock views. Yeah. Okay, there's the picnic culture. In the 60s and the 70s, families actually planned meals at rest stops. They would drive there to have a picnic. They'd pack coolers, eat at picnic tables, and let kids play before fast food dominated the highway. Yeah, and a lot of the fast foods dominating the highways, I think probably now what dominates them is truck stops. And they have restaurants there, fast food, and you can buy your snacks, your coffee, your drinks, things like that. Now, as far as closures and reopenings, Arizona is number one. I don't know how many times you drive by one and it's closed. But the reason, I always wondered why, but the reason is they're notorious for shutting down due to budget cuts or water shortages, because they have to have the bathrooms and the sinks, things like that. Travelers often complain about long dead zones with no open facilities in Arizona. Ain't that the truth? True. It's a trucker's lifeline. Beyond bathrooms, rest areas are vital for truckers. Federal law requires truckers to log rest hours, and rest stops often provide a safe place to park rigs overnight. Now here's a couple of unusual rest stops. Wyoming has rest areas with stuffed wildlife displays. Nebraska spaces rest areas are every 35 miles. Yeah, that's more than 1 hour. One of the highest densities in the U.S. Yay, Nebraska, right? In Connecticut, one rest stop was turned into a museum-style welcome center with exhibits on state history. Ooh. Now, the modern shift, many states now use vending machines, okay? So they don't have to have people actually working in them. But Missouri, and I stayed in one for 2 days. I stayed there because the rain was so enormous. I mean, well, that probably isn't a good way to describe rain, but it was torrential. Okay, yeah, rain. I stayed there for 2 days, and I would go in there in the morning. They would offer you coffee. I'm not kidding. They were really, really nice. So in Missouri, they have a lot of them that have staffed rest areas. Yeah. And they also have, one thing I will mention is in I don't know if it's every state, but I'm going to guess it is. When you first cross over the state line and you're on a highway, they're going to have what they call is a welcome center, a visitor center. And a lot of time, and it's a rest area. So I would go and you can pick up information, about the state. And then when you're leaving and going into the next state, there's one there too. And then of course, if they're coming from this way, you're coming this way. If they're coming from this way, there's a visitor center on that side of the highway for people coming in. So there's like 2 centers on each highway. Yeah, a visitor center. Welcome center. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know this is running a little long. I have so much to say about traveling. So it looks like I'm going to just keep going because I want to talk about the highway system, and I want to talk about when you're traveling across there, what are some safety factors? What are gadgets you're going to need? Equipment. So I'm getting you ready, okay? I'm being your hello helper here. So look for videos for the next few days, every single day, because I want to get this going, because you're planning. Right now, you're in the planning stage. I want to help you plan, okay? I love rest stops, and I think maybe tomorrow I'll tell you a couple of stories about some rest stops that I stayed in, okay? And some highway tales, because I got a few, because and I will mention that I did it solo, okay? Now, I did travel with Paul for a couple years, but before that and after that, I've been on my own. I mean, I was on my own for like 3 years before I even met Paul. So yeah, I've done back and forth all the way from Ohio at this point, all the way to the Pacific coast. Yes, I've done the highways. I'm not much of a byway person. I don't like them. I like the highways. I just feel a little bit safer there. Yeah. Okay. Till tomorrow, everybody. You go out and have a really good day. Good things are coming your way. Don't fret. Don't be anxious. I'm here to calm you down. Our greatest fear lies in anticipation. And if I can give you this information, you won't anticipate the worst. You're going to start anticipating the best. Okay? Mwah. Love you guys. Bye. Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town.
stars. I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars. I wanna take a trip to Mars. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Stars, I